Anxiety sufferers often ask me, how can I stop anxiety attacks? Or even, how can I stop anxiety? Unfortunately, there's no easy answer to either of these questions. Sadly, a quick fix for anxiety doesn't exist. But don't worry, there's still hope for anxiety sufferers. When people ask me how they can stop anxiety attacks, I always point out that this phrase has two different meanings. Do they mean how to prevent attacks happening in the first place, or do they mean how to stop the attacks while they're actually happening? Either way, the approaches are very similar. In this video, I'm going to list various things that anxiety sufferers may like to try that have been proven to help in the quest to stop anxiety attacks. Acceptance. Firstly, acknowledge what you're going through. Don't ignore what's happening to you if you suffer from anxiety attacks. Pushing your emotions away and pretending they aren't there will only hinder your recovery, not help it. Full acceptance of your problems and facing them full on is a big step towards recovery. Sharing. Try to share these feelings and experiences with fellow sufferers. Online forums can be very helpful for this. If your partner has never had an anxiety attack, they'll probably have no comprehension at all of how bad the experience is for you, and you may find yourself struggling to get across the severity of your panic feelings. Talking to someone who knows what you're going through may be a big help to you and remind you that you're not suffering alone. Relaxation. This isn't just for use during an anxiety attack. Ideally, you should be setting aside a regular time each day, or at least 2 or 3 times a week, for planned relaxation sessions. The more you learn to relax on a day-to-day basis, the easier you'll find it to focus on those learned relaxation techniques during an anxiety attack. Worrying. Try hard not to worry that an anxiety attack will happen. Yes, I know that's not always easy to do, but constantly thinking about the possibility of having an attack invariably leads to one actually happening. Research into the workings of the human mind has proven that things you frequently think about can often then manifest themselves in your life. So obviously it makes sense to try and avoid these thoughts if at all possible. One method that you can try to help with this is known as distraction. Distraction. The distraction technique basically involves distracting your mind by thinking about something different. So in the example earlier, it would be helpful if you had a standby thought that you could always call upon as soon as you found yourself worrying about the possibility of having an anxiety attack. An ideal thought would be something restful and pleasing to you, such as the memory of a lovely day out at the beach, or perhaps of stroking your favourite pet. During an anxiety attack, the distraction technique really comes into its own, but in a slightly different way. In this instance, your mind needs to be distracted from the actual attack. The best way to do this is to focus on something around you and really give it your full attention. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be something as mundane as a piece of chewing gum on the pavement. Whatever you choose, focus hard on it. Note every detail about the colour, the texture, if any shadows have been cast, or maybe if there's a smell. Concentrating hard on one particular thing will distract your mind away from the intensity of the anxiety attack and really help the symptoms to die down. Breathing. Controlled breathing is another technique that works well both for preventing anxiety attacks and for helping during them. Used as part of the relaxation techniques I mentioned earlier, controlled breathing can really help you to stay calm and so possibly prevent an attack happening in the first place. Likewise, during an attack, make a concerted effort to control your breathing, and to breathe deeply and slowly will really help to calm both your mind and your body, thus reducing the physical symptoms of anxiety. Stimulants. Try to avoid obvious stimulants like caffeine in drinks such as coffee and cola, and try not to have too much sugar either. If you already have quite high amounts of these, cut down on the quantities slowly rather than all at once. A gradual reduction will be much better for your body. Exercise. Any form of exercise is obviously good for your general health, but you might find it particularly helpful if you are feeling anxious. Quite often, taking some moderate exercise at times of high anxiety can help to reduce adrenaline levels in your body and so reduce your anxiety symptoms. Finding a trigger. This may seem an obvious thing to say, but try to find out if you can identify a trigger for your anxiety attacks. Knowing what might cause the attacks in the first place, so that you can then deal with these situations in the future, rather than simply avoiding them, is a big help towards reducing your levels of anxiety. There is obviously no single thing that is guaranteed to stop anxiety attacks. But as you can see, the suggestions that I've given are all proven common sense things that you can easily try for yourself. It may take you a while to find out which ones work best for you, but be assured that self-help is the best way to move on in your life and leave anxiety behind you. Good luck.